Good evening. Government officials and legislators today inspected the wastewater storage at Ta Kwu Ling landfill where dirty water leaked out in July. The government says the storage system's now been fixed. Vicky Kung was there.
These are not fish ponds, but lagoons designed to store dirty water that leached from the Ta Kwu Ling landfill in the northeastern New Territories. 9 Legislative Council members and Environmental Protection Department officials took a first-hand look at the site this afternoon. They went to the top of the rubbish mountain where the problematic leachate container is located. Authorities found a hole measuring 0.3 meters by 0.3 meters at the bottom of the impermeable lining in July. Alan Chan, Assistant Director at the Environmental Protection Department, says the plastic cover was believed to have been torn apart by the rubbish during heavy rain in July. The cover has now been repaired. But some legislators said not all their questions were answered.
They did not disclose the extent of the whole pollution, the spillover, or what kind of toxin or pollutants involved, how much was involved, and the whole time gap about the month delay in making the public announcement was not explained today.
The LegCo panel on environmental affairs plans to raise landfill issues again at a meeting before the end of this month.
We will call an urgent meeting before the end of this month and ask the administration to submit to us the paper on the system design of the sewage water in the landfill area so that we could tell whether the safety measure and the alarming system that is in the effective implementation.
The Environmental Protection Department said it has received 22 complaints on landfill leachate from 2008 till now. 3 of these complaints are related to the Northeast New Territories landfill behind me. Academics also waded into the controversy. Baptist University's Jonathan Wong said the government can't simply say it is dealing with the matter now.
For example, the data should be released rather than say that this is now in the court case, we can't release any data. I would say that this is what the public should know, and I don't think this will affect the legal process.
He also said the government has to review information on these situations as soon as possible, instead of just offering the public a regular update. Vicky Kong, TVB News.
James Shing has resigned as executive director of ATV. This is in compliance with a decision by the Communications Authority, which described him as unfit to lead the broadcaster. Shing will be replaced by Louis King Bun. He is a former senior editor of the pro-Beijing newspaper Ta Kung Pao. Joel De Silva has more.
The much-expected resignation comes just one day before the deadline set by the Communications Authority. ATV issued a notice saying James Shing stepped down as executive director. Taking his place will be Louis King Bun, who refused to comment over the phone. He said any inquiries would be dealt with by the broadcaster's PR department. Louis joined ATV last year as a senior vice president after serving as executive editor of Ta Kung Pao. He was at the center of a controversy when ATV Focus, a program he was in charge of, openly criticized the scholarism student group, which was behind the protests last year against a plan to introduce national education at local schools. Last month, the Communications Authority released its report on an investigation into the operations of ATV. It found that James Shing was unfit to lead the TV station and should step down. The Communications Authority said Shing had allowed ATV's major investor, Wang Zheng, to unduly exercise de facto control of the station in breach of the broadcaster's licensing conditions. The authority also imposed a $1 million fine on the broadcaster. Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development Gregory So said yesterday that Shing is banned from taking up any position on the board of directors of ATV in the future. João de Silva, TVB News.
The Education Bureau will carry out a review of the curriculum for liberal studies, a compulsory subject for students taking the Hong Kong Diploma of Secondary Education exam. The director of Education Research Department of the Professional Teachers Union thinks liberal studies should remain a compulsory course. Chung Yu-Fai also says recent suggestions that liberal studies teachers should declare their political leaning are unnecessary and unfair. More from Evelina Leung.
The Occupy Central movement has been one of Hong Kong's hot political issues since early this year. Earlier, the Professional Teachers Union unveiled teaching materials on the topic for liberal studies at local secondary schools, a move that stirred up a controversy. Some feared the teachers' political leaning could influence their students and affect their grading of exam papers. Today, the director of the Education Research Department of the Professional Teachers Union defended the group's move.
I think we cannot avoid that because it is a very hot issue. One of the aims of the subject is that we want the students to concern more about our society.
Zheng, himself a liberal studies teacher and supporter of the Occupy Central movement, says students are graded according to their analytical skills, and the teacher's personal political leaning will not affect the students' exam results. He said he will present different views about Occupy Central to his students so that they can have a thorough understanding of the issue.
In the classroom, I'm the teacher of the students, so I will prepare the teaching materials and prepare the subject according to the liberal studies curriculum.
Zheng believes other teachers will do the same. He also said it is unfair to ask teachers to declare their political leaning, as this might infringe on their civil rights. He urged members of the public to have confidence in the professionalism of liberal studies teachers. Evelina Lang, TVB News.
Yes, President Barack Obama stepped back from the brink on Saturday, delaying an imminent strike on Syria. He said he'll seek approval from the U.S. Congress when it reconvenes September 9th before taking any action. Alan Booknia reports.
Fearing an imminent attack, Syrian refugees continue to stream into Turkey. There are now at least 200,000 Syrians in camps across the country. The path has been cleared for the Obama administration to launch a military strike against Syria after U.S. officials determined that the Syrian government was behind a chemical weapons attack near Damascus. More than 1,400 people were killed in the attack on August 21st, including more than 400 children. Large Air Force transport planes are in place at a U.S. airbase in Turkey, and Navy ships are awaiting orders to launch missiles.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs has informed me that we are prepared to strike whenever we choose. Moreover, the chairman has indicated to me that our capacity to execute this mission is not time sensitive. It will be effective tomorrow, or next week, or 1 month from now.
As president, Obama has the authority to order an assault on his own, but he said he believes it's important for the country to have a debate.
I've long believed that our power is rooted not just in our military might, but in our example as a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And that's why I've made a second decision. I will seek authorization for the use of force from the American people's representatives in Congress.
The approach is seen as a gamble that will test Obama's ability to project American strength abroad and deploy his own power at home. It also leaves doubt whether the United States will carry through with the military steps already approved by the president. Alan Booknia, TVB News.
New law came into effect in Vietnam today, limiting what people can post over the internet. Under Decree 72, people in Vietnam are banned from posting anything other than personal information on personal pages, such as Facebook, Twitter, and blogs. It also demands all foreign websites to have at least one server in Vietnam. That would give the government greater control over the content. The U.S. and leading internet firms have criticized the law, saying it curbs freedom of speech. Vietnam has repeatedly come under fire for its harsh treatment and long jail terms for bloggers it finds unacceptable. back. If you've ever gotten a stiff neck from texting too much, you're not alone. Stephanie Choi has details of a study on the health effects of using electronic devices.
We need our gadgets to work, study, socialize, and play, but at what cost? About 2/3 of the participants of the study, aged 18 to 50, said they have experienced neck and shoulder pain, while almost half have had sore wrists and fingers. The study, jointly conducted by the Hong Kong Polytechnic University and the Hong Kong Physiotherapy Association, also included 10 to 15-year-old students who shared similar symptoms. Tech-savvy senior citizens had better watch out as well.
People who are into their 50s or 60s are likely already have some degeneration in their spine. It could aggravate the degeneration and aggravate their neck pain.
Poor posture while using gadgets coupled with a sedentary lifestyle make for weakened muscles and worn-out joints. For growing children, poor posture may become fixed if not corrected.
Another step that we're planning to do is to implement some kind of exercise programs with the school so that the school teachers are able to encourage the students or their parents to teach the students and the kids to do exercise in order to promote a more active lifestyle.
People across all ages are encouraged to engage in regular cardiovascular exercise to improve overall health and prevent fatigue. There are ways of getting around the frequent use of electronic devices. Experts recommend taking breaks every 45 minutes and regular exercise. But you know what they say, prevention is better than cure. Stephanie Choi, TVB News.
A survey has found that many families who don't qualify for government subsidies struggle to pay for their children's school textbooks. And there is simply no help for them right now. Evelina Lung tells us more.
The new school year begins tomorrow. While it may be an exciting moment for students, this is a big headache for some parents, like Mrs. Chow. Mrs. Chow's husband is a construction worker with a monthly income of around $10,000. They have 2 young children to support, and Mrs. Chow says it's hard work. We barely get by. We try to save money on food, but that's not possible for our kids' school books. And she's not alone. The Democratic Alliance for the Betterment and Progress of Hong Kong interviewed 300 families last month. Half of the parents whose children are in primary school spend more than $2,000 on school books. And 70% of the families whose children are in secondary school say they spend the same amount.
We find out that most of the Hong Kong family, they can't really apply for the textbook fee. Like Miss Chow, her family earn about $10,000 to $12,000 per month, but they can't apply for the textbook fee.
The group urged the government to provide subsidies for these families. They also said stricter regulations have to be implemented for publishers so they can't push up textbook prices easily. Evelina Lang, TVB News.
And that is a wrap of our news. Thanks for watching.
Good night.